What's up, everyone? Welcome once again to my channel. Today I'll be talking about leadership during pandemonium. And one of the reasons why I'm inspired to talk about something like this is because if you look at the world in general, the world, not just Africa, not just the Middle East, not just America, the world as a whole, it's like the world is in a crisis. And this is when leaders, your leadership attributes or people in leadership positions, this is when their characters are truly defined. A leader finds out who him or who he or she is really is in a pandemonium. And that is why there's this saying that a a calm sea never makes a skillful sailor. For you to know your skill as a sailor, if there is no storm, you won't know if you are truly a good sailor or not. So a calm sea never makes a skillful sailor. But today, like I said, I'll be talking about leadership during pandemonium, and I will be focusing on what is leadership, how are leaders made or born, or how do leaders evolve? Are leaders made, born, or evolved? What are the qualities of a leader? What are the attributes? What are those things, those characteristics that a leader exudes, that we see and we refer to this person as a leader? Personal leadership, one of my favorite type of leadership, personal leadership, which has a lot to do with you just taking responsibilities for your own life. Personal leadership. What is missing in our societies from a leadership perspective? The key qualities of a leader that I will just be focusing on key qualities of leaders, and I'll be focusing on just 3 key qualities of a leader just to save time. And also we'll be talking about what can be done from a civic individual perspective. That will be like a brief extension of personal leadership, and also working with our leaders, people that we have in leadership positions, working with them. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask me, comment below, or if you have a topic that you would like me to talk about or discuss, please leave them in the comment section. And once more, don't forget to subscribe if you like the content, if you like this video, if you feel like you've learned anything from my video. Please subscribe, comment, and like and share it with your friends. Let people benefit from the value of the content, so let's get right into it. So leadership during pandemonium, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you look at the world in general, it's like the world is in a crisis. If you turn on the news, if you go online, on radio, it's always a crisis information. It's always a negative information. It's always something it's just like there is no good news. Like, to me personally, I'm like, you know what, I think I'm at a point where I just want to turn off my radio, turn off my television and my cell phone, and just deliberately look for a good news, because it's too many. It's like a bombarding, being bombarded with bad news all the time, and it gets too much because it affects you, affects your personality, affects your emotion, affects your countenance. That's how people develop anxiety disorders. And quite frankly, if I'll recommend anything, I'll recommend that people go on social media fasting or mainstream media fasting, and just, find a book and read a book, and go out and talk to people, talk to your family, your friends. Just take a deliberate moment to do something that's unusual, but has to do with you communicating with your loved ones, because it's too many negative news. But that will be a topic for another video. But yeah, like I said, there's like an outbreak of negative news all over the place, and this is usually the time when great leaders are usually defined, because if you are a leader, you must be able to navigate a stormy sea, this is chaos all over the place, that is when we get to know who a real or a true or a great leader is during a situation of pandemonium and chaos. So what is leadership? What do we refer to as leadership? Leadership is the ability to take responsibility, both on a small scale or on a social scale or on a state nationwide scale. The moment you feel like, it's my responsibility to do this, that is an element of leadership. And leadership is a structure that takes on responsibilities. That is leadership. Some CEOs define leadership as having business acumen, like setting a vision or achieving goals for a company. Other people focus on the human qualities like empathy, humility, diversity. Every answer was different when it comes to defining leadership itself, but they were each correct. Each leader has their own personal definition of leadership, which influences how they lead the culture and direct their company. The definition of leadership can also change as the leaders themselves change. With new leaders come new approach to leadership, which impact overall culture and employee. So the definition of leadership is a very broad one, but yeah, to me, it's just a system that is put in place to take on responsibilities. It might be a responsibility to an individual, it might be a responsibility to a community or a state, but leadership is a system that functions and takes on responsibility, tackles responsibility. So that leads us to the next question. Who is a leader? Who do we refer to as a leader? One of the simplest answer I've seen to that is that a leader is someone that has followers. If you have a group of people that follows your principle, that follows your ideas, that follows your teaching, you are already a leader. A leader is also someone that's accountable, someone that feels responsible for his group of followers. I have it here. There's also a definition here on who a leader is. The definition that I have here is that a leader is someone who can see how things can be improved and who rallies people to move towards that better vision. So leaders are visionaries. Leaders see something, and they get everyone to walk towards that something. So in some cases, some leaders have seen that before. They have experienced, like if a specific individual used to be a CEO of this company, and then another company brings him in to become the CEO. So they walk to, because of, based on the fact that they were successful in this previous company. So this new company wants him to push them towards the same success or even beyond that. So now this leader in this company knows what he's working towards. He knows what is motivating people to walk toward. That is one. Now, there's a second version whereby the leader doesn't know where they're going. All they have is a neural visualization of where they are going. And that is all the job. That is still a job of leader, a company leader, for example, because they need to see it. They need to be clear about it. They need to be specific about it. They need to be confident about it in order to get people to walk toward it. So leaders have this vision and they motivate people to walk towards that vision. So let's not forget that a leader is someone that has followers. A leader is someone who feels responsible for his or her followers. A leader is someone that has a vision and rallies people around to walk towards that vision. Let's just keep that in mind, and then we will go into leadership qualities. And I kind of have a comprehensive list of leadership qualities. I'll just give us a whole bunch of it, but later on I'll be focusing on 3 key qualities that any leader during a pandemonium, or any leader during a protest, or any leader during a chaotic season must have. Those three qualities. But before then, on this list, I have qualities of a leader. A leader is one, open-minded, two, empathetic, three, visionary, four, confidential, and it keeps going, ethical, integrity, positive, humble, communicative, decisive, courageous, delegator, accountable, resilient, character, disciplined, influential, loyal, consistent. And these are all qualities, and I'll talk about some of them. When, like, for example, the first quality here is open-minded. When we say open-minded, a leader has to be open-minded in the sense that a leader needs to have like a 360-degree perspective view of situations. You can't be on one side. A leader has to look at both sides, because there's the saying that it's always two sides to a coin. You can't say you're a leader if all you see is just one side of the coin. Before you make your final decision, you always have to weigh both sides. You always have to know if this is right, if this is wrong, what could happen if I take the step, what could happen if we go in this route, what could happen if this. You always have to look at both sides, or every factors and variable involved, because as a leader, that is like your job. That is like a leader's responsibility, to always look at things from everyone's perspective. And also keep in mind, you have to be decisive. You can't waste too much time looking at everything, but you always have to be rational, look at things objective, and then be decisive. And that is what it means to be open-minded, empathetic. A lot of people appreciate leaders that can feel what they feel. So for example, in this current situation, one of the things, like if you look at in America, for example, during the protest, the Black Lives Matter protest, and so many other protests, one of the faults that people find with the leaders of the country is, most especially the current leader of the American country, is that they feel like he doesn't care about what the people are going through. So when I go out there and I question people will be like, oh, he doesn't see anything about blacks being killed. Oh, that's why he's racist. He doesn't say anything about women being oppressed. So to them, they feel like he's not empathizing with them. So it becomes the responsibility of a leader to empathize with people, his followers, because leaders need their followers. The followers of the leaders are like the oxygen that allows the leader to breathe. If you call yourself a leader and you have no one following you, then you're not a leader. You're just maybe like an inspirational human being or something like that. But yes, you need to empathize. Even if it doesn't bother you so much, you have to find a way to connect with people and share with them that you can feel their pains. And that was one thing Obama was very good at. That's one reason why people love Obama so much. He was very good at empathizing with the people of America. People find him relatable. People could look on the screen and feel like they can have like a camaraderie type of rapport with Obama. Leaders gotta be empathetic. You gotta be able to empathize with people, your followers. We've said this before, visionary. You gotta be visionary. You gotta be a visionary. You gotta be able to see things people don't see. You gotta be able to neurovisualize the future. You gotta be able to paint a picture of the future in the most believable way, that you believe it so much to the point that you can look for all the resources that you need to rally people around, to mobilize people to work towards that vision. Very, very important. You got to be confident. You need to be ethical. You need to be moralistic. You need to be able to have your leader principle that that you follow as a leader. Be it a man or a woman, you have to be ethical. from every angle. You need to have integrity. Integrity is the key. You know, if you want to last as a leader, you need to have integrity. And integrity, some people define it as you doing the right thing when no one is looking at you. Because when you do the right thing when no one is looking at you, you won't have the need to keep defending yourself in, you know, when you're in public. You know, there's this saying that if you tell a lie, you will have to tell 1,000 other lies to cover up for that one lie, and that is you losing your integrity. So you always have to say the truth. Jordan Peterson would say the truth, or at least don't say anything. You always have to say the truth. Whatever comes out of your mouth has to be the truth. If you say something and it's not the truth, correct yourself and make amendments right then and there, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life trying to find more lies to cover up for those lies. So you need to keep building up your integrity. You need to be positive. You need to be able to inspire people. You need to be humble. You know, humility is the key. People gotta know that you're a humble person, that you're not power tripping. You know, you're in the office and you don't feel like, oh, I could crush these people, whatever. You need to be humble. You know, you need to be able to take a joke from your people. You need to be able to come out and really, and this is one thing that a lot of people find missing, you know, especially in Africa, especially in Nigeria, where I'm from. People are always saying, where is Buhari? Come out and address us, because people want their leaders to come out and address them. Even if it's for you to just come out and say something, they know as a leader, sometimes they know that you can't figure everything out. But the fact that you come out and you say something, it makes them feel like they are being seen and being recognized and being heard, you know, and being listened to. That is what the people want. The same way the leaders want their followers to listen to them is the same way the followers want their leaders to listen to them, because people voted them into office. And always remember, as a leader, without your followers, you're nothing. You know, your followers are the oxygen through which a leader, you know, breathes. Gotta be communicative. You gotta be decisive as a leader, courageous. Simon Sinek, he said something. He said, one key attribute every leader has is courage. As a leader, you gotta be courageous, because there will always be forces to push you back, and you gotta always push forward. You gotta push forward regardless of those forces pushing you back. You got to do things when you're not even comfortable. You know, that's what courage is. So you got to be able to delegate. You got to be accountable. Accountability is something that's always missing in most governments, especially in Africa. A good leader needs to be accountable. You need to, whenever you say you will do something, you need to be able to hold yourself accountable. Not just on the government level, even on the personal level. When you say something, you need to be able to hold yourself accountable to get that thing done, because that's your reputation out there. You know, you don't want people to keep seeing you as someone who says you'll do something and then you don't do it. So when you say something, you have to hold yourself accountable to every single thing you say and try and get it done. And that is how you build reputation. That is how people begin to see you through your actions and not just your word. So as a leader, you have to be accountable. You got to be resilient. You need to have character. You need to be disciplined, self-discipline. You need to be influential. You need to be able to talk to people on behalf of your followers. You need to be able to influence people to do something. You need to be able to talk to your oppositions and find ways to buy them into your side. You need to be able to, you know, negotiate on behalf of the people that you represent, the company you represent. You know, as a leader, you have to be influential. You know, one of the key things, because I work with people in the film industry, and as a director producer, sometimes I don't know how I do it, but a lot of people observe me and they're like, oh, this guy can talk to anyone. Like one of my friends, he worked as my assistant director on one of my most recent short film, and he would be like, Dapo can talk to anyone. And that is me, for real. I can approach anyone and just have a conversation with you. Sometimes some people don't want to be approached, and then you just leave. That's fine. But conversation, negotiation, communication, all those things are intentional. You need to always have a way to just talk to people, because that's one thing that's missing in today's world, because this is the era of cell phone, internet, instant gratification. Everyone's on your cell phone. No one wants to have like a real life conversation. Back in the days, you could be in the elevator and talk to people. There's this popular thing called the elevator pitch, whereby you meet someone in an elevator and in 30 seconds you can market yourself, market your product, market your business to these people. Now you can't do that because everyone's on your cell phone, and even if they're not on the cell phone, everyone's like looking at the numbers on the elevator, like they just want to get there. It's hard, it's difficult having a conversation with people. But as a leader, a personal leader, if you see yourself as a leader, you need to be able to establish conversation with people, regardless of how hard it is. That is one key attribute. You need to be able to talk to people, influence people, and you need to be loyal, and you need to be consistent in what you do. And those are the qualities of leaders that I would like to share with you guys. And then we'll move to the next item, which is personal leadership. And this is one of my favorites. And when I say personal leadership, I refer to it as you taking full responsibility of everything that happens to you, not just you waiting for the president to do something for you, or your governor, or your counselor, or whatever, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister. You taking full responsibility of everything that happens to you. You becoming decisive about your life. You becoming accountable to yourself. You becoming open-minded to yourself. You looking at yourself and saying, you know what, this is my flaws. This is where I'm wrong. And then I will find ways to compensate for what I'm missing and make everything work so I can achieve my life goals. That is personal responsibility, personal leadership. Like, remember the definition that leadership is taking responsibilities. So personal leadership is you taking full responsibility of everything that happens in your life. You don't wait for nobody. You just do what you have to do. So personal responsibility is a key thing. It's something that I think I got to realize the word personal responsibility from Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said personal leadership. The personal leadership is something that is mandatory for people. As you go through your life growth journey, you need to begin to see things from the fact that you need to take full responsibility of everything that happens to you, because you won't. It's very helpful, because you will see your life. You'll see yourself in a whole new dimension. That you won't have to wait for no one to do something for you. You will just start doing things, and you start making things work for yourself, and you wouldn't blame people for your mishaps. You wouldn't wait for nobody to give you something, to give you a handout or whatever. You would just take full action and just start making things work for yourself. So personal responsibility or personal leadership is you taking full responsibility of everything that happens in your life, education wise, job wise, social responsibility wise. Education wise, you might be like, you know what, I've been messing around in school, so it's time for me to take my whole life serious. Now I'm going to read more than before. I'm going to get all A's in all of my grades. Job, you start applying for jobs that you think you deserve. You don't just settle for any type of job. You go after the exact job that you want. Even in dating, you go after the type of partner that you want. In business, in politics, you run for the office that you think that's when you emerge to this point of where you fully accept responsibility for your life, and you start doing things that you believe would help you achieve your goals, and not just help you achieve your goals, but in the long run help the society achieve the societal or the communal goals as well. And if we look at our society, that's one big thing that's missing, and it's unfortunate because a lot of people wait for the government to do things for them. And that is one thing that's missing, because if you look at the society and the quality of the attributes of leaders that we discuss, we know that our leaders usually don't communicate. Our leaders are not accountable, they're not transparent. So even that's the problem with the leadership. But even in private individuals, individuals don't assume full responsibilities of what's happening in their life. As an individual in a society, you need to accept the fact that, I will take ownership of my life. I will take ownership of my business. I will take ownership of my education. I will take ownership of my relationship, and I will make sure that I make everything work. The area of personal responsibility is hugely missing, and people need to start seeing things from, it's either I make this work or it just doesn't work. You don't wait for the government to do anything for you. You don't wait for your boss to do anything for you. You don't wait for your family, your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters to do nothing for you. You take full responsibility of everything, and you find a way to make it work, because that is something that's largely missing in African society. We know our leaders are not doing what they're supposed to do, but even as individuals within society, we don't take personal responsibility as much as we should do. We need to start assuming our personal responsibilities and realize that, it's either I make this thing work or it just doesn't work. So personal responsibility is one key area that we need to look into. And after mentioning all these qualities of leaders, I said I was going to focus on key qualities of leaders that's missing, because we are in an era of chaos. Like I said, it's like the world is in a crisis. If you turn on the news, it's like the entire world is in a crisis. But the key qualities of leaders that makes this thing worse and can also make it work are the things that I will focus on. And the very first one is being communicative. If you go online and you look at the hashtag Endsars and you look at what's going on in Nigeria and so many things, even Black Lives Matter here in America and in Guinea and in South Africa, in Togo, wherever, Ghana, one thing that reduces mass hysteria is when the leader comes out and addresses the people. And the leader comes out and says, we know there's a problem. Even if you do not have a solution and you tell the people there's a problem, we do not have a solution yet, but we'll find a solution, people will respect you and they will all go back, because they know that at least you know that you acknowledge there's a problem, and they know that you will resolve it. The problem is being worked on. It's just like you owe a company, here in America, T-Mobile, for example, and they keep sending you mails to pay your bills, and you keep ignoring the mails. At some point they'll move you to the credit company, and then they'll be like, we can handle it. But if they send you a bill and you call them and you tell them, hello T-Mobile, the problem is I do not have a job right now, but I will get a job in the next 3 months and I'll pay you everything I owe you. Fine. They will take care of you until you can start paying those bills back. And that is how people work. People appreciate when a leader comes out and communicates with them. One of the things that I keep saying is, where is Buhari in Nigeria? Where is Buhari? Why is Buhari not saying anything? Why is Buhari not mentioning why is he not talking to the Nigerian youth? Because people want him to come out and communicate with them. And that is one thing that's missing. And this is equality. And this is for anyone that finds themselves, or people that are currently in leadership position. Always talk to people that you are leading, because people want you to communicate with them. If it's good, communicate. If it's not good, communicate. If you're working towards it, still communicate with people, because communication is key, not only on the small scale of friendship or family level, but even on a nationwide or global level. Go out there and address your people, because these people will understand you better. They will understand your perspective. They will understand what you're working on better. Okay? The next thing is be confident and be decisive. Now, you've gone out there and you're communicating with people, and if you have the solution, you have to be confident about it and be decisive. And even if you do not have the solution, you still need to be confident, because two key things that I'm very, very sure of that's contagious is energy and emotion. Energy and emotions are very contagious. If as a leader you come out and you deliver a message with panic, the whole society will panic. Everyone will panic. But if you deliver a message with confidence and calm, even if it's a bad news, people will still be calm, because that is what you are communicating with them. So you have to be confident and you have to be decisive in when it comes to delivering your message across to your people. In some states, we have leaders that are very confident, but in the case of Nigeria with the Endsars thing, there's so many things just wrong. We don't have the president communicating with, confidence and decisiveness, which is just crazy. And that is what's causing this mass hysteria that's becoming a global pandemic. The third key quality that every leader should have, it's something that I've discussed and I'll just mention it again, because I see it as something that's not working, or something that's not being being manifested or being in effect in most leaders that I see today, and that is accountability. Every leader has to be accountable. You need to have your principle, you need to have your standard to which you hold yourself to. And if you say this is what you will do, always do it. That is so important. Accountability is so important, because that is how people know who you are. That is how people that don't even know you can vouch for you, because if they know that this is what you do and then someone else says something different from that, people will fight for you even in your absence. And that is because they know that you're a very accountable human being. So the three key qualities of a leader that most people should have, this is regardless of if you're currently in a leadership position, or you're soon going to be a leader, or even if it's in your own personal life. The three key qualities that every leader should possess, after all the qualities that I've mentioned earlier on, all of them is a must, but these are like a key quality that even if you don't have the rest, you need to have this one. Is one, you have to be able to communicate. You have to be communicative. Two, you have to be decisive and you have to communicate with confidence. And three, you have to be accountable. Accountability. And the next thing is what can be done, from a civic perspective. And this is a very broad question, because if you know me very well, I'm a very strategic human being, very, very strategic. I think long term. I think for the next 5 years. I think for the next 10 years. So when I'm planning, I'm not planning for, I don't get me wrong, I plan for the next day too, what I'm going to wear, what I'm going to eat, blah, blah, blah. But I'm also planning for the next 5 years. Now, when we go out to protest, we want immediate change. We want to end SARS now. We want results now. That is fine. I always say this. That is fine. But it is also our responsibility to plan for the next 5 years, the next 10 years. Because what do we say? That the youths are the future. Now, if we end SARS now, what is the next plan? We need to start planning for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, because we wouldn't stay like this for the rest of our life. If you go take a look at the mirror right now and you see what you look like, now bring out a picture of you 10 years ago. It's two different human beings. Now, that is why you should plan for the next 10 years version of you, because you will become a totally different human being again in the next 10 years. And so protesting and going out during protests is fine, but you also have that obligation, be it a societal leadership or personal leadership, you have that obligation to begin to implement yearly, 5-year strategy, 10 years plan, 20 years plan into your life, because that is what will make the long-term change. Because we are fighting for a long-term change now. We're not fighting for just Endsars tomorrow, because this problem that we have, as a nation or as a globe, it's not a problem. It's not a problem that started yesterday. That is why even if we see Endsars now, for example, it could end now, but this problem did not start yesterday. So we need to keep in mind that we have to be strategic and systematic if we want to eradicate this problem. So it's like you're fighting someone and you are fighting the short-run battle to win the battle tomorrow, but the person you're fighting is fighting the long-run battle with you. So every time you're fighting a long-run battle, it's easier to let someone win in the short run, because you're playing for the long run. So that is somehow the way they see it. So as individual, we need to start playing for the long run. We need to start seeing the 5 years vision, the 10 years vision, the 15 years vision, the 20 years vision. This could be you going back to school. This could be you starting up your business. This could even mean you running for chairmanship or governorship election or whatever. But now you are playing for the long run, because you want to really make a long-term change that will benefit the people. And always keep in mind, you're not doing this for yourself, because the moment you're doing this for yourself and that selfishness is there, you would not, one, you're losing your integrity, and two, you won't have the moral satisfaction, because you're doing the wrong thing. Always do the right thing. Yeah, always do the right thing. Whenever you find yourself in a leadership position, always have it in mind that you will always do the right thing. Also, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is working with the leaders. We need to, like I said before, that the followers are like the oxygen through which the leaders breathe. You see, leaders and the followers have to come together to become one, because if they're separate, if the leader is separate and the followers are separate, and everyone is like, no, I want to do mine, I want to do yours, and it's always a conflict in between, nothing will be achieved. So we always have to find a way to work with those in leadership position, because one, they're also human beings like you. Two, even though we are criticizing them and everything, we need to understand that in some cases, not all of them, but in some cases, some of them are actually trying, it's just not working out. Because, for example, you become like a president and then there's a pandemic, for example. I'm very sure no one plans. I mean, you could plan for a pandemic, that's true. You could have like something on ground, like for in case there's a pandemic outbreak, but no one foresees that, there'll be a pandemic tomorrow or next week or next 2 weeks. So sometimes it's always good to just find ways to work with the leaders. And this is where personal responsibility comes in, because I've worked with several companies, and one thing I know for sure is if the leaders of the company are in sync with the followers in the company, things always work out fine. You know, there are some cases whereby the leaders are trying to rip you off, and then you have to put your foot on the ground and, you know, demand for what is right and things like that. But after you get that, you always have to find ways to work with the leaders. And because the leaders are the visionaries, they have the vision, and they're the one who brings the direction. So we always have to find ways to work with them, and the leaders also always have to find ways to work with the followers. That is one thing about me that I'm very proud to say, that whenever I meet someone, regardless of who you are, if I notice that we can become business partners, and I say that, oh, why during conversation there's a misunderstanding and an argument, I don't care. I will find ways to come back and like talk to you and let you understand that if you have an argument now, that is like the short run. But I'm always in this for a long run relationship, because I'm at the stage of my life where it's all about the relationship. It's all about networking. You know, there's a saying that your network determines your net worth. So for me, it's all about forming this relationship, working with people, regardless of how much we can disagree. But I will always find ways to work with people, because even if you're a Christian, you know, even if you're a Christian, you believe in God, God said, you know, give and it will come back to you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over shall men give to you. Which means if God is going to bless you, he will bless you through your network with men. So it's very essential to always find means to network and to work with people around you. Even if you disagree at something, find something that you guys agree on and work on it until it succeeds. So this is like a call to action for those in leadership position to find ways to involve those who are not yet in leadership position, because those whom we refer to as followers will become leaders someday. So you have to find ways to begin to integrate them into the system, so we start building up future leaders, and find ways to work with them. And also those who are not current leaders, who are the followers, who will become the future leaders, find ways to work with those in leadership position, because that is the only way we can make a difference in our society. So that is basically my video for today, which is leadership during the pandemonium. I want everyone watching this video, if you're in one form of leadership position or the other, to watch this video over and over and over again. Take note of the leadership qualities, take note of leadership position. Even if you are not in a leadership position, understand the individual, the personal individual leadership, and begin to implement those changes. You know, be more communicative, be more decisive, and be more communicative, be more decisive, and also be accountable to yourself. You know, not even to the whole people now, but to yourself, your conscience. You know, be more accountable, and you'll begin to see the improvement in what you're doing. So if you enjoyed this video, or if you learned something, leave a comment below, like, share, and subscribe with your family. Bring more people in. And my channel right now, I'm on the journey to 1,000 subscribers, and I'm counting on you guys to help me achieve that, to have my 1,000 subscriber. And I will also be doing a giveaway when I get to 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, let's get to that 1,000 subscriber as soon as possible. Until next time, my name is Dapo Ibrahim again, and love and respect. See you in my next video. Bye.